Secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
I think a new world order is emerging.
An inside job? How dare you? How dare you?
To create, so to say, mass-produced models of human beings arranged in some kind of a scientific caste system.
We shall go on to the end. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
Good day, everybody. It's the 23rd of August, 2014. This is the Solvinur Event at ucy.tv. Check them out at the website ucy.tv. If you go there, mouse over shows, you can see a whole list of things. If you click on any of those, you will end up in the chat room. I'll do a shout out to you guys later. I was talking with Dan in the chat room about this article that appeared in one of the major newspapers. Good morning, Jules. And I was talking to Dan about it. There's this, what we call in Dutch, hoogleraar. Hoog is high, leraar is teacher. So if you get to that level, you know you're probably teaching at some university or something. So this high teacher made this article for one of the major newspapers calling for civil disobedience. He was talking about the economics, you know, how the Dutch government still seems to be able to create more and more debt, even though there's all kinds of rules in place that are supposed to make it less. And he says that the government is failing. Well, that's your clue, right? You know, that is your clue, really. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows that the government isn't failing, and if he doesn't, he's not aware of what's really going on. And he's still blaming the puppets for the puppet show, you see? And calling for the people to be civilly disobedient. Exactly what does he mean with that? What are the people supposed to do according to him? Vote in a new party so they can mess it up? Yeah. So either he's a gatekeeper or he's an idiot. Alright? So that about the newspaper article then. You know, it's also, it has value in the case that, well, you know, it's the government's fault. You know, which is ridiculous. And then there's the value of it being a kind of steam valve, so that the people will think, oh, well, somebody is stepping up and saying something about it, so I won't have to do it, right? That's also an effect that has. So, today we're going to continue from Indian mythology. Last time we left off where two sisters were having a wager, remember, with the horse. And one sister sending her sons off to become black hares in the horse's tail, so she would win the wager. And at the top of the hour we will have a little break, play some poker face. So, let's get this started, shall we? If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. Doesn't have to be on topic. I will do my best to answer them, even if it is I don't know, which could be in a lot of cases. One thing I would like to say before I get started also is there's two things actually. I was watching some video and it was said there that reality is a lie, and the other person replied, true. Alright, so can you guys figure out why this is a fallacy? Think about it. Now this is like the Cretensiers saying that all Cretensiers are liars. Alright, so check that out. Think about it. Another thing is, if you want to join me here on radio, that's possible. What you do is send me a contact request via Skype at Solvinur, Solvinur, and I'll get you on the radio if you want to talk about anything. Alright, so let's pick this up from page 65. In the meantime, when his time came, burst forth from the egg, without the help of his mother, Garuda, of great splendor. This is where we left off last week, right? Enkindling, yeah, it was one paragraph lower. So picking this up one paragraph lower. The gods said is where it starts. So that's also kind of strange, right? What are you supposed to think of this? The gods said, you know, where they're all sitting in a circle and all of a sudden they all speak out and say the same thing. You know, doesn't make any sense, does it? Thou art Rishi. Alright, so that's R-I-S-H-I. If you hear that term being used, it means somebody who knows all the mantras. Alright. So a mantra, for instance, like I taught you a couple of weeks ago, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which praises the author of this piece, of these slokas. A sloka is a verse. Alright, there's all kinds of mantras out there. Om Mani Padme Hum is another one, which is more used by Buddhists. Alright, so thou art Rishi, share of the largest portion in sacrifices, ever resplendent. The controller along with the Rishi wended their way towards Garuda and adored him of birds, the presiding spirit of the animate and the inanimate universe. So how is that, right? How do you be a spirit of inanimate stuff? You know, usually when you hear the word spirit, you kind of think of life, but there's different translations as to what this universe is made of. All right, so we're talking here about this bit of sentence here, talking about Garuda, the presiding spirit of the animate and the inanimate universe. Right, so Garuda is God's bird. All right, the one God bird. This is his bird, but he's also God himself. All right, so that's a reason why they call him the presiding spirit of animate and inanimate universe. However, there are different translations as to what this universe is supposed to be made of according to their mythology. They say that there are elements of which this universe is made, just like, you know, science today does. They say, well, it's hydrogen and carbon and so on. You know, the table of elements. I believe we have 104 elements now. Now, I don't know exactly how many elements there are according to the Indian mythology, but they look at it a very different way. The first 5 elements are translated as earth, water, fire, air, and then there's a difference. Some call it ether and others call it spirit. See? So if this bird is like the 5th element in this series, then he would be the spirit of the inanimate universe, all right, or the ether of the inanimate universe. There's 3 more that come after those first 5. Those are mind, intelligence, and ego. And the first one of that, mind, is seen as wanting, feeling, and thinking. So that's split up in 3. Intelligence they see as universal in the sense that, you know, they claim, and I kind of have to disagree, not disagree, I kind of have to agree with that kind of view, is that a spider, you know, he has to have intelligence to build his web, okay, alright, that makes sense to me. So they see intelligence not like, well, intelligence only for humans, no, also for animals. Did I tell you about that bird last time? Not exactly sure. These birds, they needed to crack the nuts, and so they threw them on the road so that the cars would drive over them, and then they would pick up whatever was inside the nuts. But this was kind of dangerous, so they figured out, well, if we put it on the zebra path, then there will be a period when the cars don't run anymore and they can safely pick up the food, right? So that's what they did. These birds, they dropped the nuts on the zebra path. Now that seems to imply some intelligence right there, you know, just from the bird. Ego is a very difficult one. In some translations they add brackets open, false, brackets closed, ego, because they also believe there is a real ego that will be your soul, your atma, your jiva, your self. But the false ego is the idea that you have of yourself. All right? Why do they call it false? Because most people identify themselves with their body. All right? I explained last week how body is dead. Okay, your body is dead. It's a corpse. It's etymologically tied to the German word Körper, the Dutch word lichaam. Both of those words have the death element in them. The Dutch word lichaam is made up of 2 words, lich and haam. The word lich means like, which means corpse. Right? You can hear the etymological tie from corpse to Körper in German, Körper. Alright? So, why would you identify yourself with a dead piece of meat, right? You are, according to them, and again, I haven't heard any better philosophy yet, so I'm agreeing with this. You are the living force. Alright, they say soul, but I think that's a bit dogmatic. But I do recognize that there is some kind of life. So I call it living force. Alright. Continuing. Thou art the destroyer of all, the creator of all. Thou art the very Hiranyagarbha. Alright, Hiranyagarbha is one of the 3 incarnations that the first God, or the God, goes through before this universe is created. And when it is, it's empty. Alright, so Hiranyagarbha is lying at the bottom of this universe, in a sea of water. Half of this universe is filled with water. I don't know exactly where this story comes from. Maybe it has to do with the element hydrogen. I don't know. It seems to be a lot of hydrogen out there in the universe, right? And this Hiranyagarbha, I'm not sure if this is the one, but I think this is the third one. I don't remember all the names of them. But this Hiranyagarbha then, if it is the third one, springs forth a lotus from his navel while he's laying in the water. And on the top of the navel, top of this lotus, which comes out of his navel, Brahma is born. And he's out there in the dark, there's nothing there, and he wants to find out what's going on. And so he starts climbing down this stem of the lotus, and he ends up in a huge sea in which Hiranyagarbha is lying, and he gets kind of scared, so he climbs up again, trying to find out where he is. And so, he looks around and there's nothing there. And so he thinks, well, if there's nothing outside, maybe there's something inside. And he starts meditating. And inside he finds his teacher in the form of Vishnu, who teaches him how to fill the universe with suns, stars, star systems, and so on, planets, all of it, so that the rest of the living entities can enter. Alright, that's his job. That's Brahma's job. He's the creator of the elements that make up a solar system, so that planets can spin around the sun, have light, day and night, and so on and so on. Then when the planets are ready to produce forms in which life can express itself, then the living entities come and take on those forms. Alright, that's their philosophy, guys. I'm not saying this is the truth. Alright. Picking this up. Thou art the progenitor of creation in the form of Daksha and other Prajapatis. Thou art Indra. That's the king of the gods. Alright, so anytime that they speak of gods, they're talking about half gods. Alright, this is not the God that is eternal. Right? These are half gods, and they all have different tasks. Alright, so when Brahma creates this universe, he gets a lot of helpers. Those are all these gods, and they do the work for him. Like the thunder god, for instance, right? Or the god that makes it rain, and so on and so on. Surya, the sun god. Right? Those are all half gods, because they don't have eternal life. According to their philosophy, as a living entity they do, but not in this universe. And they may change their form in the next life. So Indra is then the king of the half-gods. Continuing, thou art Hayagriva, the steed-necked incarnation of Vishnu. Thou art the arrow, Vishnu himself, as he became such in the hands of Mahadeva at the burning of Tripura. Thou art the Lord of the universe. They're talking still to the bird here, right? Thou art the mouth of Vishnu. Thou art the four-faced Padmaja. Thou art the Brahmana. They mean wise one here. Thou art Agni, Pavana, etc. That's another way of saying the presiding deity of every object in the universe, right? So here's another bit of philosophy that comes with these religious streamings. is says presiding deity of every object in the universe. All right, so even in the atoms, and even in the space between the atoms, there is this quote-unquote force they call, which is directly from Vishnu, and it's also like in your body. You have one there. It's about, I believe it was 12 centimeters or something like that. It's about 4 inches, 5 inches in your body, but it's not of a material element. All right? And that goes, so that is in everything, even in the atoms. All right? Then it's much smaller, of course. Continuing, thou art knowledge, thou art the illusion to which we are all subject. Yeah. The illusion to which we are all subject. That is called Maya. M-A-Y-A. Alright? So, let's see. Let me get a drink first, guys. How do I explain this illusion thing? They say that in your original position, you don't belong here. You're not even supposed to be here in this material universe, right? But somehow, and this kind of relates to the fallen angel stories that are out there from the Bible. Somehow you manage to get yourself incarnated into a material body. And they call that illusionary. And that has to do with their philosophy of what is and what is not. Alright, they say that anything that is eternal. And anything that is not always changes. See, you got the I Ching, the Book of Changes. That seems to be the only constant in the universe, that everything changes, right? But they say that because it changes, it is not real. It's illusionary. Right? So that's what they mean when they say, thou art the illusion to which we are all subject. There's another way in which they say that we live in an illusionary world. It's because we identify with the body. Right? If you identify with the body, you are in an illusionary state. Because you are not your body. You can figure that out for yourself. Most people will disagree with me and say, well, yes, you are your body. And I say, no. I came up with this a long while ago, and I was just starting to read all of this. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, that statement seems to be correct, that you are not your body. I mean, how can you be something that you own? All right? You have arms. You have legs. You don't say, I am leg, or I am arms, or I am eyes. Right? You're the owner of them. You have them at your service. See? So you cannot be something that you own. It's as simple as that. Alright, so let's pick this up where we left off. Thou art the all-pervading spirit. And I wonder why this is spelled with a small s. You know, why not with a capital S? Thou art the Lord of the gods. Again, that's supposed to be Indra, right? Thou art the great truth. But we're still talking about Garuda, the bird here, right? It says here, thou art the great truth. And now truth is spelled with a capital T. Meaning that it is the same as reality. Thou art fearless. Thou art ever unchanged. See, that's where the philosophy of what is real comes in again. See, it says ever unchanged, which means that is actually the only thing that is. Thou art Brahma without attributes. I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to mean. They might mean the field. Right? I told you like 3 weeks ago or so. Don't confuse Brahma with Brahman. Brahma is the god, which I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. Brahman is more like a field in which everything happens. Thou art the energy of the sun. And the sun here spelled with capital S. Why? You know, even if this is deification, right? But it's just a half god. Thou art the intellectual functions. Thou art the great protector. Thou art the ocean of holiness. Thou art purity. Thou art bereft of the attributes of darkness. That's interesting. I didn't know darkness had any attributes. Thou art the possessor of the 6 high attributes. Right, we will get to that in some point also. It's very dogmatic, these 6 attributes. When one is full of those 6 attributes, one is known as Bhagavan, or God. Let's see, I wanted to say something else. Oh yeah, it says here, thou art bereft of the attributes of darkness, what I just read, right? That is not a way one would describe something. That's not logically sound. You don't say what you are not. Right? That doesn't help. If I ask you what do I have in my hand right now, and I tell you it's not a potje, salt. Like salt here, right? Salt. It's not that, and it's not this. It's not my lighter. Nope. And it's not a magnifying glass, and it's not a cookie, and it's not a telephone. You still have no clue what I got in my hand, right? So that's not how you describe things. So when they say, thou art bereft of the attributes of darkness, that is a negative, right? That's not accepted. Thou art, continuing, thou art he who cannot be withstood in contest. From thee having emanated all things, thou art of the excellent deeds. Thou art all that has not been, and all that has been. Alright, so that's strange. It sounds like a contradiction, right? How can you be something that has not been? Yeah, sounds like a contradiction. Thou art pure knowledge. And now knowledge is spelled with a small k. That's odd. They should spell it with a capital K. Thou displayed to us as Surya, that's the sun god, does by his rays. This animate and inanimate universe, thou darkenest the splendor of Surya at every moment. Right, so brighter than the sun, right? And thou art the destroyer of all. Thou art all that is perishable and all that is imperishable. Alright, so there again the philosophy of what is true, what is truth, what is real comes back. All that is perishable is not real. All that is imperishable is the only real thing. Thou art resplendent. Resplendent is a strange word. It means shining. As Agni. Agni is the fire god. Thou burnest all, even as Surya in his anger burns all creatures. I didn't know a sun god was that angry. O terrible one, thou resisted even resist test, even as the fire that destroys everything at the time of the universal dissolution. That's Shiva's job. The end of the 4 yugas, which makes up a kalpa. Then he comes and destroys everything. All the living creatures return to where they came from and may or may not continue their journey in the material world when Brahma wakes up again. Or when Brahma is created again. It's, they say that Brahma goes to sleep. That's the end of the universe. Alright. And his sleep takes as long as the universe exists. And when Brahma dies, there's a new Brahma born. So it's cyclic, you see. There's no end to this universe. It always comes back, making it real. And there's a contradiction there also. They say, well, this universe is illusionary. Yeah, right. Because you say it changes all the time. But on the other hand, it has an aspect, an absolute aspect, that it always comes back. It's cyclic. Alright, there's no end to it. So they're contradicting themselves in their philosophies there. You can't describe any absolute properties like eternal to something that is illusionary. Alright? Almighty Garuda, who moves in the sky, we seek thy protection. O Lord of birds, thy energy is extraordinary. Thy splendor is that of fire, the brightness is like that of the lightning that no darkness can approach. Hold on, guys. Let's see, where's my packet of tobacco? I'm gonna roll another ciggy here. Thou reachest the very clouds, and art both the cause and the effect, the dispenser of boons, and invincible in prowess. Well, that's interesting, right? He's both the cause and the effect. What do they mean with that? That's a whole philosophical problem to begin with. Cause and effect. Sometimes they talk about the first cause, right? So, well, where did that come from? Is that an effect of something else or what? Alright, let's see, where were we? O Lord, this whole universe is rendered hot by thy splendor. Really? The whole universe rendered hot? I thought it was freaking cold out there. Like something like minus 270 degrees Celsius, right? Bright as the luster of heated gold. Protect these high-souled gods, who overcome by thee and terrified withal, are flying along the heavens in different directions on their celestial cars. Yeah. They're talking about orbits here. O thou best of birds, the Lord of all, thou art the son of the merciful and high-souled Rishi Kasyapa. Therefore, be not wrath, but have mercy on the universe. Yeah. Thou art supreme, O pacify thy anger and preserve us. Why is he so angry? At thy voice, loud of the roar of thunder, the 10 points, the sky, the heavens, the earth, and our hearts. O bird, thou art continuously shaking. Why? O diminish this, the body resembling Agni. At the sight of the splendor resembling that of Yama, Yama is the half-god of death. He is also king of the underworld. When, in Christian mythology, also something is supposed to happen to you when you die. This is where they got it from, guys, from Yama. Alright, according to Indian philosophy, when you die, you end up before Yama. And if Yama finds you guilty, he will send his demons to take you away. Alright? If the all-knowing Vishnu knows that you have not been evil, he will send his angels. I'm not kidding, guys. And this is where the whole Christian story comes from, right? But then Vishnu comes, sends his angels, Vishnu Datas they are called, and they will defeat the demons if they would come. They shouldn't, because Yama is also supposed to know. Alright, but these demons, they chain you and yank you away. Well, how did they do that? Well, I told you like 3 or 4 weeks ago, you got 3 bodies. Alright, the first body is your hands, your arms, your ears, and so on. But your mind is also a body. It's the body with which you dream. And that is the body that the demons put in chains, and you go away fast like a thought. Alright, but if you have been a devotee of Krishna, right, or a servant of God, then the Vishnu Datas come, and you don't have to go to quote-unquote hell. Alright? So let's pick this up at the first sentence again. At the sight of the splendor resembling that of Yama when in wrath, our hearts lose all equanimity and quake. O thou Lord of birds, be propitious to us who solicit thy mercy. O illustrious one, bestow on us good fortune and joy. And that bird of fair feathers, thus adored by the deities in diverse sections of Rishi, reduced his own energy and splendor. And thus ends the 23rd section of this parva. Next. Sauti said, then hearing of and beholding his own body, the bird of beautiful feathers diminished its size. And Garuda said, let no creature be afraid, as ye are in affright at the sight of my terrible form. I shall diminish my energy. Sauti continued, then that bird capable of going everywhere at will, the ranger of the skies capable of calling to his aid any measure of energy, bearing Aruna on his back, wended from his father's home and arrived at his mother's side on the other shore of the great ocean. Sounds like an airplane, doesn't it? And he placed Aruna of great splendor on the eastern regions, just as a time when Surya had resolved to burn the worlds with his fierce rays. Alright, so Surya is the sun god. Just at the time when Surya had resolved to burn the worlds with his fierce rays. We're looking at some coronal mass ejection here, or what? So Nauka said, when did the revered Surya resolve at this time to burn the worlds? What wrong was done to him by the gods that provoke his ire? Sauti said, O sinless one, when Rahu was drinking the nectar among the gods at the time of the churning of the ocean, he was pointed out to the gods by Surya and Soma. Right? That's the sun and the moon. Surya is the sun, Soma is the moon. And from that time he conceived an enmity towards those deities. Hold on, guys. Cup of coffee. You guys have coffee? And upon this, Rahu sought to devour his afflictor, the sun, became wroth and thought, oh, this entity of Rahu towards me has sprung from my desire of benefiting the gods. And this dire consequence I alone have to sustain. Indeed, at this pass, help I obtain not. What kind of sentence is that? And before the very eyes of the denizens of heaven I am going to be devoured, and they brook it quietly. Alright, so the last couple of sentences are not making any sense to me, guys. Therefore, the destruction of the worlds must I strive. And with this resolution he went to the mountains of the west. And from that place he began to radiate his heat around for the destruction of the world. And then the great rishis, approaching the god, spoke unto him, Lo, in the middle of the night springeth a great heat, striking terror into every heart, and destructive of the three worlds. Still haven't figured out what this three worlds is supposed to be. Let's do a word search after this paragraph about that. Good going, Dan. A cup of coffee is good now. There was a time when it was illegal. Like, I don't know how many hundreds of years ago, but maybe the coffee was a bit stronger then. Then the gods, accompanied by the rishis, wended to the grandsire and said unto him, Oh, what is this great heat today that causes such panic? Surya has not risen. Still the destruction of the world is obvious. O Lord, what will happen when he does rise? The grandsire replied, Indeed, Surya is prepared to rise today for the destruction of the world. As soon as he will appear, he will burn everything into a heap of ashes. Interesting, what's going on here? By me, however, has the remedy been provided beforehand. The intelligent son of Kashyapa is known by all by the name of Aruna. He is huge of body and of great splendor. He shall stay in front of Surya, doing the duty of his charioteer and taking away all the energy of the former. Alright, so according to their mythologies, the sun is actually being towed by a charioteer. Yeah, it's kind of strange, right? To be complete, though, the astronomy of the ancient Indians had different views, both considered valid. One where the sun is being towed by this charioteer, so he creates circles around the earth, but they also had a sun-centered view in which the planets actually revolve around the sun. So that just to be complete about it. And this will ensure the welfare of the worlds, of the rishis, and of the dwellers in heaven. So he continued, Aruna, at the behest of the grandsire, did all that he was ordered to do, and Surya rose veiled by Aruna's person. I have told thee now why Surya was in wrath, and how Aruna, the brother of Garuda, was appointed as his charioteer. Here next of the other questions asked by thee a little while ago. That's the end of 24th section. But like I said, let's find out what Indian mythology, the three worlds is supposed to refer to, right? Let's see, let's try and find not Wikipedia. See, here is another one about 3 worlds. It's a lot of text. Where is this 3 worlds thing? In the blah, blah. Yeah, when you search Google, you get a bit of text, right? It says here 3 worlds: Earth, heaven, and ... Then it stops. Earth, heaven, and what would that be? Not sky, because that's heaven. Maybe the waters? I'm not sure. 3 worlds. 3 worlds are lokas. Alright? Says here Sanskrit word for world. Well, actually, what I have been taught is that loka is another word for planet. Right? But we call this planet world also, you see. Let's see if I can find this one here. The 3 worlds are, or lokas, according to Hindu cosmology. The universe is divided into 3 worlds: Svarga, heaven, the 6 upper regions, Prithvi, earth, and Patala, the 7 lower regions. That's what I told you guys about like 4 or 5 weeks ago or something, right? About how there are 14 different planets in which living entities can incarnate. We here on Earth are kind of like in the middle, so we got a bit of heaven and a bit of hell. You see, in the lower regions, the lower you go, the more hellish the planets become. The higher you go, the more heavenly-like the planets become. The highest of them being Brahmaloka, the lowest of them, where Yama is king. Alright? Here they are actually named. The upper 6th regions, like I said, the most top one is Satyaloka. It's the abode of truth of Brahma. He's the king over there. Here, souls are released from the necessity of rebirth. Right? That's what the mythology is. When karma yoga, this is called. They say that, well, your actions will determine where you get born, next incarnation, right? So if you do good in this life, quote unquote, then the next life you might end up a planet higher. If you do good there, you end up a planet higher, and so on, until you reach Satyaloka, where when you die there, you won't reincarnate again. Second is Tapaloka, abode of tapas and other deities. Then there's Janaloka, that's where the sons of Brahma live. Then there's Maharloka, the abode of great sages and enlightened beings and other rishis. You know, like I said 4 or 5 weeks ago, this sounds more like they're talking about states of consciousness, right? 5, Svaraloka, region between the sun and the polar star, the heaven of the god Indra, Devatas, Rishis, Gandharvas. Gandharvas are like elves, and Asparas live there, a heavenly paradise of pleasure where all the 330 million Hindu gods reside along with the king of gods, Indra. See, that's how many gods there are, 330 million. That's interesting. Why is there a 33 in there, right? Next is Bhuvarloka, that's the sun, the planets, the stars, space between the earth and the sun, inhabited by semi-divine beings. Alright, that would be us. You see, we are semi-divine. Burloka, also known as Prithvi or Earth. Man and animals live there. Some Puranas, including Burloka, in amongst the upper regions, thus making it 7. They were called the 7 Vyatris, something like that, where gods and mortals lived. And there's the 7 lower ones, ruled by demons and serpents. One is Atalaloka, so that would be one step beneath us, right? Atalaloka is ruled by Bala. Huh. Sounds like Baal, doesn't it? A son of Maya, who possesses mystical powers. Next is Vitalaloka. Vitala is ruled by the god Hara Bhava, a form of Shiva who dwells with attendant Ganas, those are snakes, including ghosts and goblins, as the master of the gold mines. So you see where this whole mythology comes from, right? Because this is older than any of the stuff you have been told before. This is where they got it from. All this hobgoblins stuff. Which is used in games and so. Next is Satulaloka, kingdom of the pious demon king Bali. Huh. Then is Tatalaloka, realm of DM architect Maya, who is well versed in sorcery. Next is Mahatalaloka, abode of many hooded Nagas. Next is Rasatalaloka, home of the demons, Danavas and Daityas, who are mighty but cruel. They are the eternal foes of the Devas, the gods. They live in holes like serpents. Yeah. So you gotta wonder, right? Why did God reincarnate 3 times to create a universe where people are fighting, you know? Well, maybe I shouldn't say people, where entities are fighting. They are the eternal foes of the Devas, the gods. Right? Eternal foes. It sounds like a very angry God, doesn't it? And then last, 7th, Patalaloka, the region of the Nagas, the serpents, ruled by Vasuki. Here live the several Nagas with many hoods. Each of their hoods is decorated by a jewel, whose light illuminates this realm. Alright, that about, so now you know a little bit more about 3 worlds. 3 worlds is heaven, earth, and the 7 lower regions. The underworld, or netherworld. Huh. Yeah, and I live in the Netherlands. How about that, huh? Alright, clicking that away. And a couple of more minutes before the break. Let's get into the next section. Sauti said, "Then that bird of great strength..." Hold on, guys. I like my cigarette. Then that bird of great strength and energy and capable of going at will to every place repaired to his mother's side on the other shore of the great ocean. Thither lived Vinata. Thither, that's further, I guess. Thither lived Vinata in affliction, defeated in wager and put into a state of slavery. Once Kudra, calling Vinata, who had prostrated herself before the former, addressed her these words in the presence of her son. O gentle Vinata, there is in the midst of the ocean a remote quarter, a delightful and fair region inhabited by the Nagas. Bear me thither. Sounds like daar in Dutch. Bring me there. Bear me thither. Thither becomes there. There is daar, is Dutch. At this, that mother of the bird of fair feathers bore on her shoulders the mother of the snakes. And Garuda also, directed by his mother's words, carried on his back the snakes. Alright, so why repeat this? And that ranger of the skies, born of Vinata, began to ascend towards the sun. And thereupon the snakes, scorched by the rays of the sun, swooned away. And Kudra, seeing her sons in that state, prayed to Indra, saying, I bow to thee, thou lord of all gods. I bow to thee, thou slayer of Vritra. I bow to thee, thou slayer of Namuchi, O thou of 1,000 eyes, consort of Sachi. By thy showers, be thou the protector of the snake, scorched by the sun. O thou best of deities, thou art our great protector. O Purandara, thou art able to grant rain in torrents. Yeah. Still today, people in India believe that rain comes from Indra. Right? He is responsible for making it rain. There's nothing to do with high pressure, low pressure, and the actual coming together of smaller particles of water to form ice high up in the sky. You know, when it gets too crowded, it just starts falling down. There is a scientific explanation for why it rains. A lot of people in India, I would guess like 90 or 90+% of them still believe that it is the gods who are responsible for this. Thou art Vaju, the air, right? There is an etymological tie here, Vaju and air. Vaju is also known as wind, right? There's the etymological tie for English already. Yeah. Hold on, guys, let me comment on the chat here. Somebody just put in a link, Dan. UFO something. You know, go listen to Bill Cooper, Dan. Listen to everything he says about UFOs and how he retracted it all and calls people ufologist, UFO. I've seen them myself, you know, these UFOs, on 2 occasions. They were very strange. One was more or less at night. I saw 4 of them, bright, orange, unidentified, round, lights, moving against the wind, together, 4 of them. I could see them because there were clouds, but it was not fully cloud covered. So you could see them moving over the clouds, lighting the clouds up. That's how much light came from these things. Moving against the wind, appearing back when they passed the cloud from my viewpoint. And they were really, really bright. So those were 4, and then I had one here in daytime. I saw and this was really strange. You guys know the Borg, right? You remember the Borg? You seen that movie, the Borg? They got these cubes, but they also had a spheric one. Well, that's exactly what I saw. I saw a spheric Borg. Yeah, what would I say? I guess it's indeed an unidentified object. But it was fracking huge. And it was fracking low. And it was so strange. You see a ball of steel. I could see where it was, not only because it reflected the sun, but also because it was fracking big. It was and very low. And there was no sound, and it was moving very fast, and I could see it until the end of the horizon moving, except that when it came to the end of the horizon, it made some really strange moves. And that's why I'm thinking that it might have been a reflection of some sort. But, if there are such things as flying objects in the sky that cannot be identified, you're looking at a Black Ops project. Alright? The tie to ET is way, way out of line. That's what a lot of people do. Well, it's the extraterrestrials and they're visiting us. Nonsense. There is no evidence for that. Let me see then if that was what I saw actually. No, that's not what I saw. Not at all. This one isn't, at least. The top one isn't. The bottom ones are also not that. No. Mine is not there. I did do a little research that day, and the next day, asking if other people had seen it. And there were other people who had seen these 4 bright orange lights. Alright, so what you're looking at there are Black Ops. These are secret programs. Has nothing to do with any so-called extraterrestrials. That kind of information is not out in the open yet. Yeah. So how come you guys are talking about UFOs? Yeah. Call in and let's talk about this if you want to. You can do so by having Skype. Contact me, Solvinur, Solvinur, and I will get you on air. So why are you guys talking about UFOs, guys? I'm just curious. Yeah. Let's take a break, guys. Play some music, and we'll be back after. Here we go. Poker Face 2012 at Freedom Palooza.
Don't walk away from revolution. Working on a faster than you've ever before. The just time say email with us and St. Jones. Living up in thinking, what's the use? I'm hanging by the thread, but it feels like a noose. What I said was a record day. Real pride today. You walk away. Pushing my shopping cart down the street. No work, no phone, no rent, hey, this box is cheap. Lost the darling under the moonlight. Two blind, hey, the cat on the beat.
All right, that was a small one. Let's do another one.
Pussy. What's up, buddy? Huh?
More poker face, guys.
Beautiful face.
But you can't see me.
Post, man. That's what's going on.
You can't see me. You want to see my beautiful face. I love you.
Or at least the one you brought
much.
with you today.
Thank you.
It's for the camera.
I will work it for the camera.
It's so funny, man. Sometimes the newspapers try to make us out to be like the most incredibly like horrible people, man. But if you like ever hang out with us, man, we're probably some of the coolest people I think you would ever meet because we love, man.
Oh, except for him.
Yeah. Me and Brett are really cool.
Yeah.
All right away. Make it a racial thing against the beaner, man. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. He could be uncool if he wants. He's got the drums. So.
La cucaracha, la cucaracha.
Oh yeah, the three.
We kick 'cause we love.
When I was young, my teacher told me I was free. And as a child, I grew up programmed by TV. And a teenage boy, I'm now, cause I What's it gonna take to make you realize you're not living free? No. Standing up for your rights, only doing what's right. They'll knock you to your knees. Yeah. What's gonna take to make you wake up? Yeah, like today.
lights in the skies broadcasting lies to billions of people. Cameras on the streets checking who will meet. You call this liberty? What you gonna take to make wake up? You're about to say
Thank you, guys.
Alright guys, welcome back. This is UCY.tv with the Solvinur Event. Coming to you from the Netherlands. Holland has hijacked the American radio. That was Poker Face at Freedom Palooza, Day 3. 7th of February 2012. Alright guys. None of you have contacted me at Skype. You don't want to be on the radio? Whatever, guys. It's fine with me. So, let's see who's in the chat. Welcome, everybody. Anon37, Becky, Dale, Dan, Hecty, JJ, Joe, Jules, and 3 Anons. Welcome, everybody. So, let's pick this up where we left off. Oh, where were we? Somewhere around here. Thou art the propeller of the clouds, and has been called the Great Cloud. Huh. We got a cloud in the sky too, alright? Yeah, where you upload your stuff. Thou art the propeller of the clouds, and has been called the Great Cloud. That is, that which will darken the universe at the end of the Yuga. Yeah, end of this Yuga. Now I remember something. I told you guys last week, or not last week, a couple of weeks ago, about these Yugas and how long they take, right? This Kali Yuga is supposed to last 432,000 years. I said something like, well, this has to do something with numbers, right? There's something about these numbers. And it seems that the note A, which is like 440, used to be 432. So we're talking frequencies here, I think, when they talk about these yugas and how long they take. That was Poker Face, yes, Jules. Yeah, I only play Poker Face. You know, that's safe. I won't get in trouble with doing that. So. Thou art the fierce and incomparable thunder and the roaring clouds. Thou art the creator of the worlds and their destroyer. Thou art unconquered. Thou art the light of all creatures. Adhyata, Vibhavasu, and the wonderful elements. Thou art the ruler of all gods. Thou art Vishnu. I'm still talking about Garuda here, I think. Thou hast 1,000 eyes. Yeah. What do you need 1,000 eyes? So 4. Yes, Jules, that 432, not only do I think it has to do something with frequency because of the note, the A note, which used to be 432 but is now 440. That's something, you know, the currency, the electrical currency you guys over there have is 110 volts, right? We got 220. You see how that ties to 440? Something going on here. I don't know what it is, but I think it has to do with some kind of control. And I also think that because the next kalpa is 864. So that's twice that. You know, it's like when you half a string of a guitar, you see? So that's why I'm thinking it has to do with frequencies. Yeah. And hertz, isn't that 1,000? So you got the 432,000? Yeah, it really, really seems like it. We're talking about a frequency here instead of an age. Right? Could it be that, and I'm just brainstorming here, but what is that 420 or 144, guys? Please explain. I don't know what these numbers are supposed to refer to. But, you know, they say that this kalpa, which is made of 4 yugas, 432 being the last one, 864, the one before this, and double again for the first 2. Is it like that the universe would be vibrating, or everything would be vibrating at a higher pace in the past, and that it's slowing down somehow? So, yeah, that's, Banjoy says, that's how Pythagoras invented the interval of division of the octave by hearing the blacksmith hammer at different places on the metal. Pythagoras got his information from Egypt. That's where he was taught all about numbers. I doubt he heard that from, you know, that's the kind of mythology I don't like, Ben, sorry to pick on you, but that's like saying Newton got his idea from gravity from the falling apple, right? Yeah, apple, sure, buddies, like the apple from the Bible, you know? Those are stories to keep us in the dark. 12 notes, yeah, those would be including the notes in between the 8, right? Yeah. The 144J, you know, that reminds me of the story in the Bible where there's only 144,000 people going to heaven, you know? There's something about that number too, indeed. I have no clue what it's about, though. In Indian mythology, the number 108 has more significance, and again, if you multiply 108 by 4, you get the 432 again. You see? Yeah, half tones and whole tones. Yeah. So then you got the 12 squared is 144. So I don't know what's going on here with these numbers, guys, but the Chinese have a 32 note system, says Banjovi. Huh. So that's 4 times 8. Yeah. Interesting. You know, they say not only in the Bible but also in the Vedic literature, the Vedas, mythology from the Indians, that the universe is made from sound, guys. This is an interesting topic. This whole number, notes, and things. And the word was what does it say in the beginning of the Bible? First there was the Word, and the Word was God, or something like that. The word is sound, guys. In Sanskrit, not in Sanskrit, in Greek, I think, it is logos. Yeah. So, but it has to do with sound. Yeah. That's also according to the Indian mythology. There's the first three letters, A-U-M, or Om, as it is pronounced. A stands for Brahma, U stands for Vishnu, M stands for Shiva. It's the whole creation of the universe. That sound is supposed to have created the whole universe. So what we can draw from this is that sound has something to do with form. Alright, if you take a plate, you sprinkle some sand on it, you vibrate the plate at certain frequencies, you will see forms appear. Alright? Frequencies and sound. Ugh. Difficult topic. Alright, let's see, where were we? Thou art the fierce and incomparable thunder and the roaring clouds. Thou art the creator of the worlds and their destroyer. Thou art unconquered. Thou art the light of all creatures, Adyata, Vibhavasu, and the wonderful elements. This is where we were. Thou art a god and the final resource. Thou art all Amrita and the most adored Soma. Yeah. We're talking about a drink here now. Soma is supposed to be a drink. Thou art the moment, the lunar day. The Bala, that's a minute. Thou art the Xana, that's 4 minutes. So here they divide in minutes. Did these guys even have minutes in Indian ancient times? You know, they say that long ago, we didn't have 365 days, we had 360 days. Right? You divide that by 6, you get 60 minutes in an hour. Is that how they got this minute stuff? Thou art the lighted fortnight and also the dark fortnight. Yeah, those are the moons. Phases of the moon. Thou art Kala, thou Kashta, and thou Truti, whatever that is. It's got a clickable thing here. Divisions of time, that is. Truti, the divisions of time. Thou art the year, the seasons, the months, the nights, and the days. Thou art the fair earth with her mountains and forests. Thou art also the firmament, resplendent with the sun. Thou art the great ocean, with having billows and abounding with whales. Swallower of whales, and makaras, and various fishes. Alright, swallowers of whales? You're telling me that there are creatures out there in the mythology that can actually swallow a whale? Interesting. Thou art of great renown, always adored by the wise and by the great rishis, with minds wrapped in contemplation. Thou drinkest for the good of all creatures the soma juice in sacrifices and the clarified butter offered with sacred invocations. Yeah. That's about all we know about this soma, though. That it's a juice and that you can drink it. They have found some soma presses in India. Thou art always worshipped at sacrifices by brahmanas moved by desire of fruit. Moved by desire of fruit means that they sacrifice to the gods something in order to gain material fortune. O thou of incomparable mass of strength, thou art sung in the Vedas and Vedangas. It is for that reason that learned brahmanas bent upon performing sacrifices study the Vedas with every care. And that's the end of this section. So let's continue here. Section 26. Sauti said, a short section. Sauti said, and then Indra, the king of gods, having the best of horses for his bearer, thus adored by Kadru, covered the entire firmament with masses of blue clouds. Blue clouds? And he commanded the clouds, saying, pour ye your vivifying and blessed drops. And those clouds, luminous with lightning, and incessantly roaring against each other in the welkin, poured abundant water. And the sky, in consequence of those wonderful and terrible roaring clouds that were incessantly begetting vast quantities of waters, looked as if the end of Yuga had come. Sounds like a 40-day rain story from the Bible. And in consequence of the myriads of waves caused in the falling torrents, the deep roar of the clouds, the flashing of lightning, the violence of the wind is vaju. In Dutch we also say wind, vai, vaju, etymological tie, air, vaju means wind or air. And the general agitation, the sky looked as if dancing in madness. The sky became overcast, and the rays of the sun and the moon totally disappeared in consequence of that incessant downpour. And upon Indra's causing the downpour, the Nagas became exceedingly delighted. And the earth was filled with water all around. And the cool, clear water reached even the nether regions. Yeah, well, that's logical, you know. Water always flows to the lower points. But here they mean nether regions, the lower planetary systems. And there were countless waves of water all over the earth. And the snakes with their mother reached in safety the island called Ramanyaka. And that's the end of this section. Next. Sauti said, and then the Nagas, drenched by the shower, became exceedingly glad. And borne by that bird of fair feathers, they soon arrived at the island. That island had been fixed by the creator of the universe as the abode of the Makaras. There they saw the terrible Lavana Samudra, ocean of salt. And on arriving there with Garuda, they saw there a beautiful forest, washed by the waters of the sea and resounding with the music of winged shores. And there were clusters of trees all around, laden with various fruits and flowers. Yeah. This reminds me of quote-unquote scientific research. Supposedly 65 million years ago, a great catastrophe happens. And nothing bigger than a cat survived. But it was also a period in which for the first time flowers appeared on the earth. According to the scientists anyway. And there were also fair mansions all around, and many tanks full of lotuses. Tanks full of lotuses? What the heck is that? And it was also adorned with many lakes of pure water. Yeah, drinkable water. And it was refreshed with pure incense-breathing breezes. And it was adorned with many a tree that grew only on the hills of the Malaya. On the hills of Malaya? Is that where they got the name Himalaya from? And seemed by their tallness to reach the very heavens. Yeah, talk about Himalaya, right? And there were also various other trees whose flowers were scattered all around by the breeze. And that forest was charming and dear to the Gandharvas and always gave them pleasure. And something going on here or what? No, everything is fine. I'm sorry about that, guys. And the sight of all this was exceedingly delightful. And in consequence of many things there, capable of charming everybody, the forest was fair, delightful, and holy. And, echoing with the notes of various birds, it delighted greatly the sons of Kadru. And the snakes, after arriving at that forest, began to enjoy themselves, and they commanded the Lord of Birds, Garuda, of great energy, saying, "Convey us to some other fair island, with pure water. Thou ranger of the skies, thou must have seen many fair regions while coursing through the air." Garuda, after reflecting for a few moments, asked his mother Vinata, saying, "Why, mother, have I to do the bidding of the snakes?" Vinata, thus questioned by him, spoke unto the ranger of the skies, her son, invested with every virtue of great energy and great strength, as follows. Vinata said, "O thou best of birds, I have become from misfortune the slave of my co-wife. The snakes, by an act of deception, caused me to lose my bet and have made me so." When his mother had told him the reason, the ranger of the skies, dejected with grief, addressed the snakes, saying, "Tell me, ye snakes, by bringing what thing, gaining a knowledge of what thing, or doing what act of prowess, we may be freed from this state of bondage to you." So he continued. The snakes, hearing him, said, "Bring thou Amrita by force, then, O birds, shall ye be freed from bondage." And thus ends the 27th section. So we'll move on to the next. 28. Sauti said, Garuda, thus addressed by the snakes, said unto her mother, "I shall go to bring Amrita. I desire to eat something in the way. Direct me to it." Vinata replied, "In a remote region in the midst of the ocean, the Nishadas have their fair home. Having eaten the thousands of Nishadas that live there, bring thou Amrita. But let not thy heart be ever set on taking the life of a Brahmana. Of all creatures, a Brahmana must not be slain." Right? Brahmana is the top of the class in the caste system. "He is indeed like fire. A Brahmana, when angry, becomes like fire or the sun." Alright, a Brahmana, it says here, a Brahmana, when angry, becomes like fire or the sun. Alright, that's not allowed. They're not allowed to become angry. They're supposed to have their emotions under control. They have no need whatsoever to become angry in the first place. That's how enlightened these people are supposed to be in the first place. becomes like fire or the sun, like poison or an edged weapon. A Brahmana, it has been said, is the master of all creatures. For these and other reasons, a Brahmana is the adored of the virtuous. Yeah. So why become angry, right? O child, he is never to be slain by thee even in anger. Hostility with Brahmanas, therefore, will not be proper under any circumstances. O sinless one, neither Agni nor Surya truly can consume so much as does a Brahmana of rigid vows when angry. That's Shiva then, not Vishnu. I'm reporting to somebody in the chat. You mean Shiva, not Vishnu. By these various indications must thou know a good Brahmana. Indeed, a Brahmana is the firstborn of all creatures, the foremost of the four orders, the father of the master of all. Garuda then asked, O mother, of what form is a Brahmana, and of what behavior, and of what prowess? Does he shine like fire, or is he of tranquil mien? What the heck is that? M-I-E-N? And, mother, it behooveth thee to tell my inquiring self those auspicious signs by which I may recognize a Brahmana. Vinata replied, saying, O child, him should thou know as the best among Brahmanas, who having entered thy throat would torture thee as a fishhook or burn thee as a blazing charcoal. A Brahmana must never be slain by thee even in anger. And Vinata, out of affection for her sons, again told him these words. Him should thou know as a good Brahmana who would not be digested in thy stomach. Strange stories. You can tell a Brahmana, supposedly, by his what he wears, like you recognize a military or a policeman, although those two seem to slip into the same uniform a lot of the time. Although she knew the incomparable strength of her son, yet she blessed him heartily, for, deceived by the snake, she was very much afflicted by woe, and she said, Let Murat, the god of the winds, protect thy wings, and Surya and Soma, thy vertebral regions. Let Agni protect thy head, and the Vasus thy whole body. I also, O child, engaged in beneficial ceremonies, shall sit here for your welfare. Go then, in safety, to accomplish thy purpose. Sauti continued. Then Garuda, having heard the words of his mother, stretched his wings and ascended the skies, and ended with great strength. He soon fell, and endued with great strength, he soon fell upon the Nishadas, hungry and like another Yama. And bent upon slaying the Nishadas, he raised a great quantity of dust that overspread the firmament, and sucking up water from amid the ocean, shook the trees growing on the adjacent mountains. And then that lord of birds obstructed the principal thoroughfares. Sounds in Dutch like doorgangen, something which you can go through. And then the lord of birds obstructed the principal thoroughfares of the town of the Nishadas by his mouth, increasing its orifice at will, and the Nishadas began to fly in great haste in the direction of the open mouth of the great serpent eater. And as birds in great affliction ascend by thousands into the skies, when the trees in the forest are shaken by the winds, so the Nishadas, blinded by the dust, raised by the storm, entered the wide extending cleft of Garuda's mouth, open to receive them. And then the hold on, where was I? Where was I? The skies, trees, so blah blah blah, and then the hungry lord of all rangers of the skies, that oppressor of enemies, endued with great strength and moving with great celerity to achieve his end, closed his mouth, killing innumerable Nishadas, following the occupation of fishermen. Thus ends section 28. Well then, it is Shiva that is destroyer of worlds. Alright? Vishnu maintains them. Brahma creates, Vishnu maintains, Shiva destroys. You could also see that as past, present and future. Alright? In the past, things have been created. Now, things, or in the present, things are being maintained. And in the future, things will be destroyed. You see? So it's Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, in that order. Not that they appeared in that order, but because first there was Vishnu. According to some mythologies, others say that, well, Vishnu was created or called upon by Brahma and Shiva, but those two are the first three. Hey Chucky, what's up, buddy? Welcome, welcome. Alright, that was the let's see, and next section, a very short one again. Sauti said, and then Indra, the king of gods, having the best of horses for his bearer, thus adored by Kudra. Didn't we just do this? So this is section 26. What happened? What's going on here? Section 25. Yeah, looks okay. Strange. 26. Having the best of horses for his bearer, thus adored by Kudra, covered the entire firmament with masses of blue clouds. We just did this. Why is it being repeated here? Next. Yeah, we just did this. Next. I don't know why it went back. See, this is where we left off. Next. Come on, you guys. Here we are. Sauti continued. Oh, certain Brahmana with his wife had entered the throat of that ranger of the skies. The former began to burn the bird's throat like a piece of flaming charcoal. Yeah, strange story. I don't know what to make of this. You know, how do you eat a Brahman? It doesn't make sense. I mean, how do you eat a Brahmana? It doesn't make sense. Him Garuda addressed, saying, O best of Brahmanas, come out soon from my mouth, which I opened for thee. A Brahmana must never be slain by me, although he may be always engaged in sinful practices. Right. What's that supposed to mean? Sounds like a freebie for Brahmanas. You know, those top of the class in the caste system that they still apply in India, which has been going on for thousands of years. Sounds like a freebie for them, doesn't it? Well, if you're born in a Brahmana caste, you can commit any sin you like. It's the same in society today, isn't it? If you're placed high enough, you know, like Mr. Deming here, you can torture children and get away with it, you know? Unto Garuda, who had just addressed him, that Brahmana said, "O let this woman of Nishada caste, who is my wife, also come out with me." And Garuda said, "Taking the woman also of the Nishada caste with thee, come out soon. Save thyself without delay, since thou hast not yet been digested by the heat of my stomach." Yeah. Yeah, Chucky, the top has special rights. Yeah. They make the rules for us, but they don't apply for themselves, right? Sauti continued, and then that Brahmana, accompanied by his wife of the Nishada caste, came out, and praising Garuda went away. Wended? I'm reading that went. Doesn't make sense to me, this sentence, guys. And praised Garuda, wended whatever way he liked. Oh, went whatever way he liked. Yeah, right. And when that Brahmana had come out with his wife, the Lord of Birds, fleet as a mind, stretching his wing, ascended the skies. He then saw his father, and hailed him, and hailed by him. Garuda, of incomparable prowess, made proper answer. And the great Rishi, Kashyapa, his father, then asked him, "O child, is it well with thee?" The language used here. "Dost thou get sufficient food every day?" Yeah. "Is there food in plenty for thee in the world of men?" Garuda replied, "My mother is ever well, and so is my brother, and so am I. But father, I do not always obtain plenty of food, for which my peace is incomplete. I am sent by the snakes to fetch the excellent Amrita. Indeed, I shall fetch it today, for emancipating my mother from her bondage. My mother commanded me, saying, Eat thou these the Nishadas. And Nishadas, I have eaten them by thousands, but my hunger is not appeased. Therefore, O worshipful one, point out to me some other food, by eating which, O master, I may be strong enough to bring away Amrita by force. Thou shouldst indicate some food wherewith I may appease my hunger and thirst." Kashyapa replied, "This lake thou seest is sacred. It has been heard, or of even in the heavens." Yeah. "There is an elephant with face downwards, who continually drags a tortoise, his elder brother. I shall speak to you in detail of their hostility in former life. Just listen as I tell you why they are here. There was of old a great rishi of the name of Vibhavashu. He was exceedingly wrathful. He had a younger brother of the name of Supritika. Isn't that supposed to be by the name of? The latter was averse to keeping his wealth jointly with his brothers, and Supritika would always speak of partition. After some time his brother Vibhavashu told Supritika, It is from great foolishness that persons blinded by love of wealth always desire to make a partition of their patrimony. After effecting a partition, they fight with each other, deluded by wealth. Then again, enemies, in the guise of friends, cause estrangements between ignorant and selfish men. After they become separate, it's probably supposed to be after they become separated in wealth, and pointing out faults confirm their quarrels, so that the latter soon fall one by one. Absolute ruin very soon overtakes the separated. For these reasons the wise never speak approvingly of partition amongst brothers, who, when divided, do not regard the most authoritative shastras, shastras are scriptures, and live always in fear of each other. But as thou, Supratika, without regarding my advice, impelled by desire of separation, always wished to make an arrangement about your property, thou shalt become an elephant. Supratika then thus cursed, then spoke unto Vibhavashu, thou also shalt become a tortoise moving in the midst of the waters. Yeah. Well, that's odd, right? It says here, always wish to make an arrangement about your property. Yeah, well, if it is his property, isn't that his right? And thus, on account of wealth, those two fools, Supratika and Vibhavashu, from each other's curse, have become an elephant and a tortoise respectively. Owing to their wrath, they both have become inferior animals, and they are engaged in hostilities with each other, proud of their excessive strength and the weight of their bodies. And in this lake, those two beings of huge bodies are engaged in acts according to their former hostility. Look here, one amongst them, the handsome elephant of huge body, is even now approaching. Hearing his roar, the tortoise, also of huge body, living within the waters, comes out, agitating the lake violently. And seeing him, the elephant, curling his trunk, rushed into the water, and endued with great energy, with motion of his tusks and fore part of his trunk and tail and feet, and he agitates the water of the lake, abounding with fishes. Hold on, guys. Let's see. Chucky in the chat says, key point, Walter, when to make valid decisions between people using wealth as a guide. Alright, I'm sorry, I don't understand that sentence, Chuck. Property is a difficult topic. Proper tie, you know, property, proper tie, that which ties to you properly. Yeah. In Dutch we say eigendom, or that which belongs to you. Right? You should be able to decide whatever is tied to you, what happens to it, right? You know, don't you, even in the Constitution, say something about property? And how property is important to keep communism away? What they are suggesting in what I read there is like, you don't own your property. You know, that's also what they say in Indian mythology, is you don't own anything. Everything belongs to God, you see. That's why you're supposed to sacrifice everything to him. Sounds very communistic. And why do they say that? It's to keep control of you. That's why they tell you that everything belongs to God. You're not the owner, right? You don't have anything to say. It's control. That's what it's about. Anon says, what did Indian become the accepted common English name when it was Rand McNally started using colors in their cartography? I don't understand that question either. And I'm not sure what Indian you are referring to. You know, are you referring to the people that live in India, or are you referring to Indians in America? That's another myth, right? Supposedly, you know, somebody thought that, oh, I'm going to find a different route to Far East. They came upon America and called them Indians. Nonsense. They already knew where they were heading. You don't go on a sailing trip not knowing where you're going to end up. They had maps of the new world before they set out for it. Yeah. Alright guys, it's 57, which means we're almost at the end of this. So, let me finish this paragraph. Let's see, where was I? Something went wrong again with this page. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the browser here, but it keeps flipping my pages. We are at page 73 somewhere. Or 72. And endued with great energy, with motion of his tusks, yeah, we did that. And the elephant is 6 yojanas in height and twice that measure in circumference. Oh, it's 59 already. Let me do a quick shout out to everybody in the chat. Anon, Banjo, Becky, Dale, Dan, Hecty, JJ, Joe, Jules, Chucky, and 2 Anons. Thanks for listening. We are at the end of this Solvinur event. See you guys next week. Take care, people.
An inside job? How dare you? How dare you?
To create, so to say, mass-produced models of human beings arranged in some kind of a scientific caste system.